everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are reacting to 15 uncanny Simpsons predictions that came true. The Simpsons is notoriously known for their crazy and outlandish predictions that have actually happened. Let's watch a few of them today, talk about it, and just see where we are with it. What do you guys think about this whole thing? Do you think Matt Groening knows something? Because he did Futurama as well, so maybe. Goated TV shows, by the way. Let's just get into the video. If you want me to react to more stuff, if you have any suggestions, let me know down below. And yeah, let's get into it.
Number 15, Lady Gaga Super Bowl Halftime Show, Season 23, Episode 22.
Okay.
In the second episode of The Simpsons' 23rd season, the special guest star was Lady Gaga, who performed for the town while hovering in midair. Whether this inspired Gaga or not, this came uncannily true.
That's one thing I have to say.
At the Super Bowl.
Maybe some things are inspired by The Simpsons, even if it's like subconsciously or something. Like you see it and then years later it happens and subconsciously you do it. Maybe, I don't know.
Her opening song, and then as the show continued, she flew down to the stage.
I remember this getting memed everywhere. How she was like spider crawling down.
The same way she had done in Springfield. It remains one of the most acrobatic shows to ever take place at the Super Bowl, and was probably all thanks to The Simpsons.
Maybe. You never know.
Number 14, the U.S. curling victory, Season 21, Episode 12. While the Olympics are open to representatives from every country in the world to take part in, there are some sports that some nations are so good at that it's a surprise if they don't take home the gold. One of these that happens at the Winter Olympics is curling, when the Swedes are almost always the favorites for the event. In the 12th episode of Season 21 from 2010, Homer and Marge travel to the Vancouver Olympics, where they compete against Sweden in curling. Despite falling behind, they manage to cause an upset and win in the end. In 2018, life imitated art, and the U.S. men's team won in exactly the same way, only the second time ever that they had medaled in the event.
Damn. GG's. Fair enough.
13, Disney's purchase of Fox, Season 10, Episode 5. Disney has become one of the most powerful entertainment companies in the world, and often buy...
That's not too out there for me. That's not too out there. You can see one of the biggest things trying to get that monopoly and like purchase other things. That's not too out there.
Out their competitors. When in an episode from 1998, Homer goes to pitch a film idea to executives at Fox, it said beneath the company logo that it was a division of Disney. Most people thought it to be just a joke and that something like this would never happen. They were, of course, wrong. And in another example of The Simpsons predicting the future, Disney purchased the conglomerate in 2017 for a price of over $52 billion.
Jeez.
Franchises like
Pocket change.
Avatar, and The Simpsons under the control of the House of Mouse.
Yeah. Disney got everything now. Just do it right. That's all we ask.
President Trump, Season 11, Episode 17.
Yeah, I remember this being a big one.
In the episode titled Bart to the Future, which was first aired in 2000, we see what the future of The Simpsons was like, with Lisa as the president in the White House and Bart as a failed musician.
Oof.
The idea behind the episode was that the vision was warning to Bart that he needed to change his ways to prevent wasting his life. But were The Simpsons writers instead warning us, the viewers, of something else? In a meeting, Lisa mentions that the country had been left in quite a financial mess thanks to President Trump. Again, something that most people wrote off as being a joke.
Even the hand wave and the thumb thing was like spot on, wasn't it?
When Donald Trump won the presidential election. Number 11, censoring art, Season 2, Episode 9. One of the earliest Simpsons predictions to come true was broadcast in 1990. The 9th episode of the second season showed how residents of Springfield protested the displaying of Michelangelo's David because of the nudity and insisted that it was covered up. Fast forward more than 25 years, and that's exactly what happened in St. Petersburg in Russia. A 16-foot-tall plastic replica of the world-famous statue was put up on show in the center of the city. But following complaints by parents and residents, and a poll was conducted to decide which clothes, if any, should be put on the statue to make it more appropriate. Number 10, horse meat scandal, Season 5.
Oh yeah, 19. This is huge in the UK.
The quality of school dinners is always questionable, And in a 1994 episode of The Simpsons from season 5, lunch lady Doris is dealing with a reduced budget and resorts to adding assorted horse parts to the meals in place of the meat she'd normally use.
Fair enough.
It turned out that this isn't as unusual as you may want to think. In 2013, a scandal took hold across Europe as it was discovered that horse meat was being used in products that had claimed they contained beef.
Yeah, Tesco, popular shopping mall here in the UK. It's similar to your Walmarts or your Targets or whatever, you know, shopping center, whatever. Yeah, they had a scandal where there was traces of horse meats in them.
At least 4.5 million pre-prepared dishes such as lasagna, chili, and burgers were sold throughout 13 countries and contained, in some cases, only horse meat. They were sold in supermarkets, given to patients in hospitals and to children in schools, and was one of the biggest food hygiene scandals of recent times. Now,
Yeah, it was crazy. It went proper huge everywhere. There was shows about it.
They probably should have just watched The Simpsons instead.
But yeah, mental.
Number 9, the Higgs boson particle, Season 8, Episode 1. The proof that the existence of the Higgs boson particle required the construction of the largest machine mankind has ever built, and was hailed as one of the greatest scientific discoveries of the last decade. But was all this effort actually needless, and all researchers needed was to watch an episode of The Simpsons?
Oh yeah, you had
In the first episode of Season 8,
thing
Homer
for it on the
becomes an
board,
inventor and
right?
is surprisingly good at math. The show is known for hiding equations and ideas within the scripts, but at one point on a blackboard is a seemingly random equation. Now looking back, physicists say that this writing is actually a remarkably close description of the mass of a Higgs boson, and only works out to be a fraction larger than the true measurement that was made in the super collider at CERN.
Imagine like
For the
jotting
Simpsons to
down
have
some
got
stuff
there
and it's like
15
close
years
to that.
earlier seems almost impossible to believe.
Yeah, it's that sort of stuff
Number
that
8,
makes you think
Nobel
maybe he
Prize
does.
winner, Season 22, Episode 1. The writers of The Simpsons have always had a close affinity to science, but this prediction shows just how on the pulse they actually are. When Season 22 premiered in 2010, Martin, Lisa, Milhouse, and a database make a betting pool for who they think will win the Nobel Prizes in each category that year. All of these are real people who are active in their respective fields, but incredibly, in 2016, one of them did actually win. Bengt Holmstrom from MIT was a joint winner of the Economics Prize, thanks to his work on contract theory and ideas of how to determine what should be government-owned and what should be controlled by private interests. Lisa was probably very upset with the announcement of this because the others are yet to win, and this presumably makes Milhouse a true future visionary.
Bro knew.
Number 7, Three-Eyed Fish, Season 2, Episode 4. One of the most famous episodes of The Simpsons from the second season was the one where Bart captures a fish in the pond near the nuclear power plant. Named Blinky, this fish had 3 eyes and led to the citizens of Springfield leading protests about the pollution being released into the environment.
Mental. Yeah, it was also in the movie as well, wasn't it? Where he dumped like all the stuff in the lake and that massive pig poo silo into it as well.
Luckily, mutations like this are extremely rare, but not unheard of. In 2011, a fisherman in Cordoba, Argentina, caught his very own Blinky from a reservoir near a nuclear power plant.
Yeah,
it was a
crazy.
species of wolffish, and at first, he and his friends didn't notice because it was too dark. The next day, though, the reality became all too clear, and they couldn't decide whether they would eat it or not. It turned out that not only was this reservoir near the plant, but there was also a water outlet pipe that led straight into it, proving yet again that the Simpsons had the foresight to see what could happen in places like this.
Interesting. Like, a three-eyed fish is something genetically that could happen. You see people all the time with an extra finger, less fingers, this sort of stuff. Genetically, sometimes things don't always go the way that you think they are going to go. But those details, the pipe into the sewer, like that stuff is the bit where you're like, did you just randomly think that on a whim? Is it a coincidence? What do you know, Matt? What do you know?
Number 6, Smartwatches, Season 6, Episode 19. The 19th episode of Season 6 saw The Simpsons visiting a Renaissance fair. Lisa soon found herself in the fortune teller's tent, and this set up another episode that was set in the future. It's difficult for most shows to show technology that will be around many years from now.
Yeah.
But on this occasion, The Simpsons managed to get it spot on. One of the characters is seen using a watch that flips open and that he can talk into. It responds back to him with the information he needs in what appears to be a premonition of the development of smartwatches. This episode aired in 1995, which is almost 20 years before the so-called
not too crazy out there.
In 2014. Now they're commonly seen across the country and are probably proudly owned by whichever Simpsons writer came up with this idea back.
Not the craziest thing out there. I'm sure that, I mean, 9 out of 10 guesses are wrong. You might get one that's slightly on the right thing. They didn't have it perfect because it's not like a fold out flip thing that we have, but it's not bad. It's not a bad little guess.
In the 90s.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Number 5, Siegfried and Roy Tiger.
Oh yeah,
Season
the
5,
tiger
episode 10.
hit him.
Siegfried and Roy were once
I don't know if it killed him or not. I'm not sure.
Famed for performing with tigers and headlined at the Mirage Resort and Casino for over a decade in what was described as the most visited show in Nevada. Because of their notoriety, they featured in the 5th season of The Simpsons in an episode that was broadcast in 1993, which began with the news that Springfield had legalized gambling. Homer took on a job as a blackjack dealer in Mr. Burns' new casino, and in the auditorium there was a magic act that parodied Siegfried and Roy's routine.
Okay.
While performing, however, they were mauled by one of their white tigers, and tragically this event came to pass in real life just 10 years later. During a performance in 2003, Roy was attacked by one of their white tigers called Montecore. They grabbed him by the neck while on stage and dragged him into the wings like he was a rag doll. Despite losing a large quantity of blood, he survived the incident, but suffered from life-changing injuries that meant he'd never be able to perform the same way again.
Jesus.
Following this, the duo produced a show based on their act called Father of the Pride, and returned to the stage a few years later for several one-off shows before officially retiring from show business in 2010.
Crazy. Actually crazy. Something like that is something you can probably predict a bit easier, because you just can't predict these animals, man. You just can't predict them.
Season 6, Episode 19.
Okay.
Due to their unique designs, city skylines around the world are instantly recognizable. If you think of New York or Paris, there are certain buildings that you would expect to see in a drawing of them. But in an episode from 1995, The Simpsons animators appear to have got London extremely wrong. The Season 6 episode, which was set in the future, showed Big Ben and Tower Bridge, but there was a peculiarly shaped skyscraper further to the left that looked like no building in the city at all. That was until 14 years later when plans were submitted and accepted for a new structure called the Shard. Now completed, it's the tallest building in London and offers views across the entire city.
So did they get the building right? That's insane.
An unusual design, particularly at the top where it only looks half finished. But this seems almost exactly how it was shown in the Simpsons episode all those years before.
That's crazy.
Not only does the structure look just like the Shard, but its position
yeah, I can see it there in the bottom left.
in London is virtually identical in the cartoon to where it was built in real life too.
That's crazy. The
owners of it
positioning.
took inspiration from the show. The Simpson producers had seen the plans way ahead of time, or it's more proof that they have a knack for predicting the future like no one else.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a shape at the end of the day, so it could have just been lucky,
Number
but
3, FIFA corruption scandal. Season 25,
mental.
Episode 16. In the 16th episode of the 25th season, which was broadcast in 2014, Lisa gave a speech to her classmates in which she talks about Homer and mentions that there was a time when he gave her a red card and sent her off from a soccer game that he was refereeing. A video of this speech went viral and led to Homer being called by FIFA, the world governing body for the sport, to referee some matches in the World Cup in Brazil. The reason they needed his help was that they had found themselves short-handed after finding out about massive corruption in the sport.
Okay.
Homer goes on to do a good job and sees the German team winning the tournament. In this episode, the show actually managed to get 2 predictions spot on.
Right.
The first was that Germany did win the World Cup that very same year.
Yeah,
And the second was that the following year, FIFA became embroiled within one of the biggest cases of corruption in recent times. Staff from across the organization, including those at the top of the sport, were arrested and sacked for allegations.
Thing is, in a sport like that, you just corruption is going to happen in all levels, from teams to owners to all the way at the top of who owns FIFA. You know, it's just going to happen in some way, even if it's tiny. It will happen.
Bribery, fraud, and money laundering, and it sent shockwaves throughout world sport.
It's all paper,
Luckily,
man.
though, it has never quite led them to needing to hire a dad from Springfield to officiate any of their high-profile games.
That's fair, luckily.
Number 2, faulty voting machines. Season 20,
Oh
episode 4.
yeah,
The
I
Simpsons
remember
have never
this.
shied away from highlighting social injustices and commenting on our reliance on technology.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth episode of the 20th season again managed to predict the future with frightening accuracy. It was a treehouse of horror.
Went in, he
special.
tried to do it, and
During
it
the opening
switched. It
scene,
was like, no.
Homer has gone to vote. He's at the machine and is trying to select Barack Obama, but it always registers the vote for John McCain instead. He tries to vote 6 times, including once where he presses McCain's name in the hope that it selects Obama. But in the end, he's forced to give up because no matter what he did, the vote always ended up showing
That's
the
crazy.
same. Not wanting to cast a vote like this, he heads off to report it so it can be fixed. But the machine didn't want him to reveal the secret. It sucked him in, killed him, and then spat out again before Jasper puts an "I voted" sticker on his forehead. Strangely, this wasn't too far from what would happen just 4 years later, and there are concerns it may be more common than anyone realizes. In the 2012 election, when Obama was up for his second term, a video emerged from Pennsylvania. In it, a man was trying to vote for the incumbent president, but whenever he did, it would instead select Mitt Romney. When asked for comment, representatives from the Republican Party claimed that the opposite had been reported happening too, and it understandably raised some concerns about the accuracy of the machines. Those who encountered the problem said that everything had worked fine if they tried to vote for someone else, and that it would only happen if they selected Obama's name, which made them further suspicious of why this was happening. The voter who recorded the video eventually found one part of the screen he could touch that would register it properly.
That could have been the screen.
Poll worker that this means there wasn't any problem at all. Once the video went viral, however, the machine was
I reckon it was
to be recalibrated.
Way too many people had this similar issue.
It's unclear how many votes have been affected. The Simpsons writers yet again predicted future issues that may be faced by the increasing use of technology in such important processes like voting. And if people either don't trust that it's working properly or it actively registers
people just won't vote
entirely, then it's a problem that goes to the heart of a democracy.
Yeah.
With recent concerns about the possibility that hackers from an enemy state might be able to access large numbers of these machines to affect the outcome of an election, this might be one Simpson prediction that comes true time and time again.
Damn.
Number 1,
Biggest one.
Donut-Shaped Universe, Season 10, Episode 22. With such a love of math and science, it seemed only natural that one of the world's foremost physicists would make an appearance in The Simpsons. So when the writers found out that Stephen Hawking was going to guest star, they had an opportunity to put him in a room with the world's dumbest person. While sat in Moe's Tavern drinking a beer, Hawking ended up admitting that your theory of a donut-shaped universe is intriguing. I may have to steal it. Just a few years later, new modeling of the universe's creation started to suggest that the donut theory might in fact be the case. Instead of being an infinite structure, it's now believed to be finite and continuously wraps back in on itself. Observations such as unexpected ripples in the fabric of space-time are pointing towards it, and means that possibly Homer is far more intelligent than anyone had given him credit for.
There you go.
A donut-shaped universe. It's intriguing, Homer. I may have to steal it.
There you go. Donut universes. Fake election rolls. Donald Trump. Just a few things that the Simpsons have predicted. What other things do you think they predicted and got right or wrong? If you have any other videos you want me to react to, then also let me know down below and I'll get to them as quick as I can. Thank you so much for watching this video today. If you want any gaming or Pokemon content, all the other channels are down below. Make sure you go follow them and follow this one here. I'll see you guys soon. Take it easy. Stay safe. And bye-bye.